That's all fine and good, but there are also people like Richard Branson who get lucky, and then there are people like Shelley Newbuck, and you may be asking, who's Shelley Newbuck? And I think that's a perfectly legitimate question because no one knows who Shelley Newbuck is, because she's just one of many small business owners, as these statistics here will show you, who don't make it. The likelihood that you're going to start a business and be in business in 10 years it is much lower than that you'll be around. And one of the guarantees is that if we aren't planning what we're doing, in particular I would argue marketing, doing planning and marketing, there's no way we're going to be around. So we don't want you to be Shelley Newbuck. We don't want you to be a nobody. So for marketing, we want to say, get it done. Get out there and do it. But we want you also to start kind of calmly. Think about where you are. What are the assets that you have, and how can you build on them? If you're a smart cat, you'll stand on the shoulder of the giant dog and try to make the best of what you have right now. Some other things, remember that profile that we went through, your customer contact, liability, pricing, regulation profile. Think about where you are in terms of production. Are you enjoying what it is that you're doing? Do you feel like you're tapped out? Are you thinking about expanding what you do because you're not making enough money? But in truth, do you have any hours left in the day to do more than you are? It may be that you don't need to do more, but you need to do things smarter or differently. So analyze what you've got right now for enterprises. Think about whether or not they make you happy. Think about whether or not they make you money. When we talk about marketing, I like to think of it as the big four of marketing more. There's a couple of ways to think about it. One is marketing penetration, where we actually work to boost sales within markets that we're already serving. We might also try to just get more people to use more of what it is that we offer or what we sell. Okay? Second of the big four is marketing development, finding new uses for a product or maybe finding new markets for a product. Product development, perhaps producing a new product for an existing market, going into value added. I know a lot of times producers were told over and over again that this is where the money is. Take the raw product of what we do and try to turn it into something else. If you're an egg producer, one of the things that we've thought about doing is possibly developing a custard line with our eggs, making ice cream out of them, mayonnaise out of them. We've already developed them into a quiche line. We've already turned them into beignets. So we've done a couple of things with our eggs to make more money from them than we will when we sell them by the dozen. But we're also always thinking how we maybe can do some things differently. Changes in quantities sold is another area that I just want to touch on quickly. A lot of times we think of in terms of increasing the amount of what we're selling, but here I actually want to have you think about possibly even decreasing. We've found that there are a number of people, for instance, with duck eggs that want only half a dozen at a time, and I've been highly reluctant to do that. Partly because I have to buy more, to think more about packaging. It's easier to do it by the dozen. But we've found that sometimes when we are willing to sell half a dozen at a time, we actually can make more money. And so I think that many people who sell herbs have found the same thing. You can sell basil by the pound to a restaurant, but you can sell it by the half ounce to people at a farmer's market and make probably 3 times the amount of money. Okay? So, and last year I want to talk about diversification, and that's just simply creating new products for brand new markets. Okay? And I'm going to move along here just in the interest of time. We're often asked about whether we need to do our research first or production first, and let me try to tease that out a little bit. Sometimes people say, well, you know, if I can't make it, I can't market it. So shouldn't I just start, you know, producing more of whatever it is I do? Shouldn't I just get a bigger herd of cows? Shouldn't I have, just add more lambs and then worry about marketing? How can I worry about marketing if I don't even know if I can produce it? I'm going to argue, though, that you aren't Kevin Costner. This isn't a field of dreams. It's not about what you want to do or what you think you can do in terms of production exclusively. If that's not wedded to a plan for marketing, then you can produce plenty, but you may be sitting on plenty as well. I want to bring up my friend Janie Burns again, who talks always when she's talking about the issue of marketing how she got very excited about growing vegetables, and so she started doing it. Well, then all of a sudden she had this huge harvest, but nowhere to go with it. Fortunately for her, a brand new market was opening in Boise. Suddenly she had a place to go, but that was pure and utter luck. So it's not a thing that we want to do by luck and pluck. We want to do it by planning so that when we produce, we already know that it's sold. My dear friend Diane Green once said to me, don't plant it if you haven't sold it. And I remember thinking when I first started out, man, I hate that advice. I just hated it because it felt like it wasn't the fun part of it. I wanted to plant. I wanted to get in the dirt. I wanted to make things grow. I didn't want to think about whether or not it was sold, but I have tried to take that advice every step of the way. And I'm really grateful to Diane for that. So that when we think about planning for the year, we're thinking about starting backwards with the very last market we're going to go to, how much we plan to sell at that market, and we work our way right back up to this week as we're planting in our greenhouses. So think about that marketing piece of this. Try to move this slide forward. There we go. I also hope that you can think a bit about the opportunities that exist. What are the current lifestyle trends? I can say in the 9 years that I've been doing this, I've seen more and more do-it-yourselfers come online. When the economy tanked, man, people started to really want to grow their own food. There's still a huge interest in supporting local farmers. There's no question about that. But I think alternatively, we have to recognize that we've got a real opportunity as people that know how to grow food to help people who don't. So it's one of the major lifestyle trends right now. Looking at the ethnic and racial mix of people in your neighborhoods and your selling areas provides you with potential new audience for what you do. Health trends, there's no question about it. Everybody's talking about obesity and whole foods and how raw whole foods might help us to combat the obesity epidemic. This may surprise you, but the group that's doing the most buying right now is the younger generation. This is not a group that's saving money necessarily. They're not making a ton of money either, but a lot of people in their 20s are doing proportionately the most buying right now. If that's the case, we should be thinking very hard about trying to reach out to those consumers. Okay? So as we start to think about putting the marketing plan together, I want to say this. There are a variety of websites for marketing plans. Our book provides us some, or our books, I should say, give us some advice on this topic. I'm going to cover it pretty broadly with what I think are the bare bones of what you need to have in any marketing plan. But I want you to know that there are websites, there are whole books on marketing plans, there are courses that can be taken that do nothing but walk you through marketing plans. Your small business development centers are available to help with this. So there is no magic singular wand for a marketing plan. There's no guru on this who is the only source. There are a variety of ways to do marketing plans, and so what I'm going to provide you with are what I think are the easiest, best practices for putting your marketing plan together. So we start out with where we are. What's the marketing situation analysis? What do you have? How do you sell it? What channels do you go through to sell? Do you go to the farmer's market? Do you go through a broker, a wholesaler? Do you go to restaurants? Do you add value to what you do? Who do you currently have for your customers? And how often do you talk to them and find out what it is that they want? Who's your competition? Has it increased or decreased with the recent trends in the economy? Have you done the SWOT analysis that we've asked you to do, I think, about 500 times so far in this class?